Hi, this is Emily Noun from Region 17, and we are going to walk through creating the data view that I call Focus Group, and we're going to give you the steps to create that and share that out today. So, as usual, I'm in Aware, and I'm going to go ahead and start by clicking on Create a New Data View, bottom left corner, and I'm going to walk through their wizard. And then it's going to ask me what type of test I would like to choose. Again, for this one I'm going to do a star test. It's best for you to grab the most recent school year. So the most recent test would be 2016 star. I'm going to grab 2015 only because I'm in a demo site. And then it does not matter which assessment you pick, as long as it is a 2015 assessment. We're using this as a template, and so we are just going to apply the data for everybody to see. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And then how do we want to view the data? For this one, again, we want teachers to really look at this data, so we want to see it by individual students. I'm going to click on that. And where do we want the data view to be? Where they were or where they are now. For teachers, I like to do where they are now because that's the default data view. And then for this particular one, I'm actually not going to check any box because none of these are going to give us the specific fields that we want. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And then you can choose ethnicity for this one and go ahead and click next. And then we want to edit the view. So we're going to wait for that to pull up the test or the data view editor. Oh, it's very fast. So now I'm going to give it a name. I told you I like to call this one the focus group. Sometimes I do call it the triple threat, but we'll stick with just focus group. I have my test selected, so now I'm going to go to columns, and then it gives me raw score and percent score, which it's fine. If I want to leave those in there, I can. If we want to view some viewable data for this group, we can also add scale score, to be honest. But what we are really trying to decide in this view is we're trying to pull over 3 major data points for accountability. We are going to pull over advanced accomplished, and then we are going to pull over economic disadvantage, and then we're going to pull over ethnicity. So it added it on summarize. We'll remove it there. We don't need it both places. So what we want to do is we really want to filter this out by particular students. So we don't want just all economic disadvantage, all ethnicity, and all level 3. We only want specific information for each one. So for example, I'm going to click on economic disadvantage and I'm going to add a filter. What I want is I only want my economic disadvantaged students to show. So my filter will be yes. In order to save my filter, I just click back on economic disadvantage and now it has it saved. For ethnicity, more than likely, I also want a filter. You can filter it to any ethnicity or subpop that is really hitting you on accountability and is counting more for a heavier subpop. Typically, it's our Hispanic students, so we can choose Hispanic and then click back on ethnicity, and it saved it. Your numbers might be different than mine, but that's okay, as long as you click Hispanic. And then we also want our advanced accomplished level 3. We want our kids who did not meet advanced level 3. So these are your kids that could potentially count 3 times. Your economic disadvantaged students, your Hispanic students, and the kiddos who did not meet advanced level 3. So those are major indicators for kids that we want to focus on because potentially, like I said, they are hitting 3 times the system. So we want to have those as a focus group. I added ethnicity. Okay, it didn't show up under summarize. We'll leave summarize blank. That's perfect. So everything else should be good. So as before, you do not click save. Ironically, you will click update in the bottom right hand corner. And then it may take it a couple of seconds to pull all the data points together. Mine, since it is a demo site, is going to give us a whole bunch of NAs, but this will work on your site, and it will populate information. The only disclaimer for this data view is that you must turn on your economic disadvantage status. So a couple years ago, legislation passed that said we don't openly give out students' economic disadvantage status. With that being said, Eduphoria did not turn that on as a default feature. So I'll show you in a second as an administrator how to go in and make sure that your economic disadvantage is turned on. You'll know that it's not if you don't even receive a column heading that says economic disadvantage. If you pull up this data view and you have your ethnicity and you have advanced level 3, but you do not have economic disadvantage, then that right has not been given to you to see economic disadvantage status for your students. So it seems a bit tedious, but yes, due to the fact that this is sensitive information, it is not automatically turned on. You can choose to turn this on for all of your staff, or you can choose to just turn it on for your administrators. It's going to be a local decision on what you want to do for that. So I have it turned on, which is why I see it. So I have everything set up correctly. I see my kids that are economic disadvantage, Hispanic kids that did not meet level 3. A great thing to do with this, obviously, we'll click save to make sure it saves. And then again, if you want this to be available for every teacher to be able to click through your data points and see this, then you will click share. Again, I suggest you do a district, all teachers, and district quick views. Or if you're a campus principal, you can do my campus teachers, and my campus quick views. And then you'll click submit. Another thing that happens though that I want to show you is you have a button that says add to group. If you have identified the kids that meet this status, you can create a monitor group by walking through this wizard, and then it will keep these kiddos in the system. They will show up for every teacher in your campus/district under my student groups. What happens here that is awesome is when, for example, we're going to go ahead and walk through and do this. I'm going to say add to group. Next, I want to create a new group to monitor, and I want to keep it at the district level. That's great. Or you could keep it at your campus level, and I'm going to call it focus group, because that's how we can refer to it. And then you can select the first student. If you do shift and scroll down to the last student on your keyboard, you'll highlight them all, and then you'll click add. It might take it a couple seconds. There they all are. Yay. So then I can click next. I'm finished. Awesome. So then what happens now is you could tell your teachers, I've created a monitor group that is our focus students. When teachers come in, they can click on my student groups, and it should be second one, focus group. When they click on focus group, what will happen is they will only see a list of the kids that they teach on this list. So it's not going to be every single kid. It's going to be kids associated with their roster or in their classroom. So they will have a quick list of all of their focus kids in their classroom that potentially count 3 times, which is awesome. It's going to be a great checkpoint for each teacher to easily click right here and see who their focus students are. You can continue to add to the group, because I just did 1 subject, 1 grade. You can continue to edit and add to monitor groups. when we chose to create a new group, under that option it said add to an existing group. So you could identify all kids that fit that criteria for your entire campus and create a monitor group. Then every teacher could click on that particular group and have access to only their students that meet that criteria. I think this is probably a more appropriate way to view it. They then can click on a kid, they have individual tests and scores, they have journaling, whatever they want to do in regards to that student that should be a focus or a priority student. So hopefully that helps you out in setting up this group. Let's go through the very last part, which is in management. If you have access to management, you can go to Switch Applications, go to Management. This is how you turn on that economic disadvantage category. If you go to Manage Users, I'm just going to search for my fake user. Click on a user, principal, teacher, whoever you want to have access. Then you will go to Rights. At the very bottom, you'll have to scroll to the very bottom. There is a button that says, where is it? View Students' Economic Status, right here under Roster, which is a very interesting place for it to be. So if you want somebody, or you yourself want to view students' economic status, this must have a check mark in it so that you can see economic status. That applies to every user that you want to be able to access this information. So yes, it is one click and then a save for each user. That's how you turn that feature on, which I think is very relevant information based on how you want to disseminate it. Otherwise, you will be set up for success for this data view, which I think will become a great staple for your teachers to know who these students are and plan accordingly. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you. Bye.